Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Joey. I'm going to teach you how to take this really flat, purpley looking photo and turn it into this. Yeah, so it's looking pretty epic. So let's go ahead and get started. It's a little cold, so I want to put it up to maybe about 4,700. Actually no, let's go 4,800 temperature. It's looking a little purple to me, so I want to go down to 22, maybe down a little bit more. No, it's too green. Okay, let's go down to 22 tint. I'm going to raise the contrast up to about 29. See, that's bringing a lot of detail out already, and we've only done 3 things. So I'm not going to mess with the exposure. I'm going to bring the highlights not quite all the way down, but I kind of want to get that moody look up in the clouds there. So as you can see before, it was kind of washed out, but now there's some detail in there, so that's good. Let's go to negative 90 there. Let's raise the shadows up to about 60 or so. I mean, right there, that's looking pretty solid. I mean, already. Well, that's not really fair. You can't compare the two. But trust me, it looked a lot different. Let's do whites. Let's bring those down to about negative 10. Let's bring the blacks up to about positive 20. Clarity, I'm going to go up a little bit just to get that more gritty look that you see in the Chicago shooters. I like to reference the Chicago Instagrammers because they kind of are the king of this look, I suppose. A few of us in Seattle have kind of acquired it, but we're still doing our own thing, I suppose. So I'm going to make a couple points here on the tone curve. I want to go ahead and go up on the highlights there. Maybe a little bit more. That's probably good. I'm going to go ahead and push the whites just a little bit brighter. Yeah, just a little bit brighter, like 98%. You can see in the top left corner right here where the percentages are. Just make sure you pay attention to that. The lower you go, you're going to crush the whites and it's going to look kind of gross, but but yeah. So what I want to do now is I want to lower this point here, and then I want to get out of here, and then I want to crush the blacks. So that's super important. I'm sure you guys have heard that term before, but make sure you do it. So I'm going to go ahead and try to control the midtones here. Let's see, that's looking pretty solid right there. That's looking really good. Crush the blacks, kind of bringing them below this dotted line here, bottom down and to the right a little bit. It'll get you that gritty look. I'm actually going to go down in the shadows a little bit so I can get a little bit more of that darkness, that dark look. So far I'm thinking it looks pretty solid. Next thing I'm going to do is go to the blue tone curve. I'm going to put a point right here in this little intersection here, and then I'm going to crush those two. Boom, perfect. Okay. But now I'm going to bring them down a tiny bit because it'll go yellow and it'll go blue. So what I want to do is go to a little bit of yellow, like right there. That is 100% solid. I love that already. Wow. Okay, cool. Now what I want to do is take away some of the blues in the photo because as you can see, majority of the photo is blue, especially down right by my pants and my legs and all that good stuff. So I think right there, negative 40 is solid. Perfect. I'm going to take away some of the purple because when there's blue, there's purple, as you can see there. Not too much though because it gives the buildings a little bit of definition still, so I think that's really good. As you can see, I want to pop out this roof there, but for whatever reason, when I was climbing, I got stuff all over my knee, and now it looks like I have some sort of skin disease, but I promise you I don't. So I'm going to actually take away from the saturation there, and then I'm also going to take away from the magentas because that's when there's red, there's probably magenta. I'm going to take away. That's probably about it. I'm going to change the hue on the greens to be a bit more aqua. I like the aqua look in the trees. I think that looks really cool. So now I'm going to go actually a little bit down right there. I'm going to desaturate the greens a little bit. Right there. I'm going to go up in luminance just a tiny bit. Right there. No, a little bit lower. Right there. Boom. Perfect. Now, what I want to do is split tone. I'm going to split tone a yellowish color into the, let's go right there. It's perfect. I'm going to get a yellowish color. I'm going to desaturate it down, but I'm going to go up to about maybe 13 or so. Maybe, yeah, 12. That's perfect. But now comes the big part. This is, besides the tone curve, this is where you get a lot of your color and that kind of look. You want to split tone the blue shadows in it. So as you can see, it's already looking pretty solid as I'm adding some more. I'm actually going to go down to about 19 or so. God, that's not fair. You can't really. I mean, I'm getting there, but but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna add a little bit more actually in the highlights there. Now let's add a little bit of sharpening. I'd go to 41 because for some reason at 400 ISO I'm already getting some grain for some stupid reason on a full frame, but you know. So that looks really solid. Took it out quite a bit. Now it's looking really good, really clean. I don't have any lens corrections because I used a manual focus lens, but that's okay. So now I want to go to the vignetting. This is where you're going to get that look for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and mess around with this. You're essentially going to get you know, a lot of vignetting around the edges, of course, but you can mess around with this midpoint slider here, and you're going to get a little bit different look. It's going to the midpoint is going to go toward the center if you go to the left, and kind of spread out if you go to the right. So I'm going to mess around. I like 38. I think that was my initial number there. So I'm going to mess around with the vignetting until I get a number I like or a look I like. I don't want to get too much because I don't want to, you know, make it look really cheesy, and I don't want to get the oranges in my knees too dark. So I'm going to go to maybe about 17 or so, and then I'm going to do some feathering. Just add a little bit there, because you can see there you get a nice oval if you don't have enough, and then you're going to get almost no vignetting if you take away. So I'm going to go ahead and go there. Grain, I'm not going to add any grain. You can mess around with these sliders if you want. I typically don't want to because I like the colors as they are. I don't like that. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of that. I'm going to go -10, and then I'm going to add some green into there. Maybe not too much though. Like right. That looks pretty dang solid actually. Probably didn't get it as quite as I wanted it to. Yeah, see, my before and after. The before is actually my initial edit. I did a little bit more desaturation. I had a little bit more yellows in the highlights there. I desaturated some reds out. I actually probably will do that because my knee's looking pretty nasty. Not gonna lie. Let's do a little bit less there. A little bit less there. Nice. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm gonna desaturate blue a little bit more. Great, that's looking pretty solid. I'm actually going to go back up and add a little bit more detail in the highlights. There, I'm going to add some there. Boom, and boom. Okay. Just enough to make it crisp. It's actually, I actually prefer well, that's pretty solid. That is pretty solid, right? There, perfect. I'm actually going to take away some of the blue I had. Not quite there yet, but I'm getting there. About where I wanted it. Cool. Alright, that is pretty solid on my end, personally. I actually want to add, let's see, what did I do for some vignetting on this one? 24. Okay, I figured I did a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit more. Boom. Okay, perfect. Maybe take away some more. Yeah, there we go. Take away maybe all the highlights there. Looking pretty good. Okay, so that's basically it. You can mess around with it as much as you'd like. Midtones are going to be your best friend and your enemy at the same time. So I'm going to mess around with that a little bit more. I'm liking that right there. It's looking pretty solid. So yeah, I'm just putting some final touches on it. Really like the look. I'm actually going to go colder a little bit. Boom. That looks solid. Actually, yes, that is nice. Maybe go a little bit warmer. Let's go right there. Boom. Solid. That is exactly what I want. Yes. Okay, cool. So that'd be it. That's how you get that look. A lot of people have been wondering how, you know, oh, how does so-and-so get this look, or how does so-and-so get this look? Well, that is basically the majority of how you get that look. So make sure you just leave me some comments. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you just talk to me, communicate with me. I'd really like to know what you guys think. I'd really like to hear what you'd like to see next. I have another video coming that I know for a fact that all of you guys are going to love. I'm pretty excited for that one. So, alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a thumbs up, give me a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Well, with that being said, I'll see you guys later.
Don't really smoke, bitches be sniffing that snow. Girlies in reindeer gear, dancing for silver and gold. Aight.